You're on.
Hello, my name is Ron Burchett. I'm the District Fire Chief here at Pine Grove Volunteer Fire District in Eastern Tennessee. This is a safety notice to all you firefighters out there, chiefs and training officers and equipment type people, of an incident that we had happen to this fall when we went to do an evolution using the Elkhart brass R.A.M 8296 model. What happened was the evolution was set up by our training officer that we would deploy this from the rear running board of the engine, set it up completely, run it at max GPM of 500 GPM and max pressure, then have to rotate through all the firefighters to give them a practice at setting it up, flowing water, playing with the nozzle at different spray patterns, and aiming at different downstream things. So we started off, my first firefighter, we deployed the unit with a 2.5-inch line off the back of the engine. We extended the required safety tether, which comes with the unit, attached up here to the unit. And then one thing we did, when we purchased this unit, we're probably like most of you, in most of our residences, there's not necessarily a immovable object in the front yard or located where it's in the right place to attach the safety tether strap to. So what we did was we fabricated these stobs or pins or whatever you like to call them in your region of the country, and we drive this in the ground through this and then push it, tension it up. So we have the required immovable object to hold it in case anything bad happens. So the exercise started. My firefighter was on the nozzle. He had his hand here on the bail. He was using this hand to control and play with the different settings on it. He did have one knee up here in this area here to help make sure the ram stayed in place, and he made him a little more comfortable with his knee up in that area. After a few minutes of doing this, suddenly the 2.5-inch hose decided it was no longer going to perform. And it blew out about 3 feet back of the ram. And here's what that looked like. This hose went through its annual hose testing earlier in the year. So it shows you we can't guarantee just because we perform the annual hose testing that it's always going to perform in the field. So that's what happened. When the hose blew, several things happened very quickly, and we're just tried to piece together what happened. Obviously the ram, because it had full pressure and flow on it, once the pressure and flow was released at the burst, it took a reactionary action, which appears to have been straight rearward and up. When it went up, it evidently came back, and this, I don't know if you can see it very good in the video here, but this hex head bolt struck my firefighter in the back of the hand here and gave him a deep laceration all the way down into the tendons. It also, as it went rearward, his knee was resting on it right in here. It hit him on the inside of the knee and thigh. So we immediately took him to the emergency room where he spent about 6 hours. He received stitches in the back of his hand, and the emergency room doctor was highly concerned about the hematoma that he had on his thigh and his knee. And to bring you up to date on it, the hematoma didn't cause him a problem. The stitches in his hand, because he is a diesel mechanic, his employer wouldn't let him perform his job function, so he missed 3 weeks of work without pay. But at this time, we don't believe he had any permanent injuries. He is going through some physical therapy to check it out, so in case there is anything that arises later, it'll be covered. So after we calmed down and training was over, called off, we came back the next day to try to evaluate what happened to him and our equipment. Well, it was easy to see that this was our homemade attachment point was still in the ground. Although it had received a pretty good load on it, it bent this 7/16 rod, as you can see right here. Then you go back and look at the strap. The strap itself, when it was new, before it cut, was made like this and had this piece right here, the attaching piece, went through this oblong area and was attached back here with a bolt. So it appears what happened was when this reaction took place, it just cut and cut this nylon strap. Well, on closer examination of this piece, it is that these edges along here, on both sides, if you could have this in your hand, are razor sharp. You could take this and trim your fingernails with it. It's that sharp. So when this extreme load came upon the nylon strap, and probably didn't come on it 100% straight, probably did a sliding action, it just cut the nylon strap. So that appears to be what happened. The hose bursting started this chain of events, and unfortunately the safety tether didn't perform when it really needed to perform and allowed my firefighter to get injured. So if you have one of these 8296 Elkhart brass rams, behooves you to take a close look at this piece right here and see if your piece is like ours was and is razor sharp or too sharp in your opinion to perform its job and might fail like ours did. What we've done since then to make sure this doesn't happen, we've done two main things. We took this piece and took it off and removed it. Then we fabricated our own attachment point. There's where the screw goes in to attach it to the monitor. We made a ring, had it welded by a certified welder, both sides. Put the strap back through it. Had a canvas shop re-sew it so it's fully attached now with good strength nylon thread and the same pattern that was on it originally, and sewed I think with as much integrity as the original sewing had. So we now have a new strap, an area that will not have any sharp places on it to cut anything in the future. It's all radiused, can go in any direction, and reattaches like it did. That's the main thing we did to get rid of the sharp piece. The other thing we did, we fabricated some new safety stakes. This is a 5/8 rod, a little bit longer than our old one, and you can drive it into the ground with your hammerhead axe. We don't think it'll bend, and we don't think it'll pull out of the ground. So those two changes to this, we hope in the future that, number one, we don't have any more hoses break, but if we did have a hose break or something happen to cause this kind of reaction, the changes and modifications will make my firefighters be safe in the future. So hopefully, if you take heed with this, if you have this any of these conditions, contact Elkhart Brass about it. If you also find that you have a sharp one, I'd like to know about it, just for point of interest. But I guess that's about all I can tell you about it. Be safe, bring everybody home safe. Thank you.